Mr. Perfect and Bulldog, some perfect matches. Great with yeah, with the Hitman, obviously. He's just so good at selling. He was great. I think both of them, I would have liked to seen both of them as WWF champions at one point, Mr. Perfect and British Bulldog, but it wasn't to be, and it's sad how they like both succumbed to like drugs like a lot of the time. I've read some bad things about Davey Boy Smith, like the way he treated Diana Hart and stuff. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But like, both of them were notorious ribbers as well, which is quite crazy. But yeah, I don't know if I could decide between the both of them as far as their wrestling characters go. I think they're both wicked. I might lean more towards Davey Boy, because I don't think I've seen as many of Mr. Perfect's classic matches as I have like of British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smiths, and I can't really decide on that. But yeah, like Mr. Perfect DVD, I still need to get that and see his AWA matches, like his hour draw against Nick Bockwinkel and stuff. He was also like a wicked highlight in the Survivor Series matches. I think Mr. Perfect was. He like really held his own together. I remember like in Survivor Series '88. I think he was like the sole survivor with Andre the Giant against Jake the Snake's team. Yeah, that was good. And yeah, I remember the team he was in against the Ultimate Warrior and stuff. Survivor Series '90. Good shit. Yeah. I've rambled on a lot about that question, but it's hard to answer, but I'm slightly edging to British Bulldog. God, this Q&A is so long. The last question from Fundu6666. Was the Attitude Era all it was cracked up to be? Well, this could take a video, or it could not. But I think yes and no would be the good answer to that. I think in some aspects it was overrated, and like there was too much emphasis on like soap opera shit. But on the other hand, there was some like great matches and moments as well. I loved all the Steve Austin, Mike Tyson stuff. I thought that was brilliant. I remember it from when I was young, and it was good stuff. It seemed very believable, and I enjoyed that. And of course, like the triple threat tag feuds between Edge, Christian, the Hardys, and the Dudleys, I loved a lot. And like there's Kurt Angle was there. The Rock gave some funny promos. But yeah, like there was a lot of shit as well, like the corporate ministry, like Kaientai chopping off a penis, Mae Young giving birth to a hand, stuff like with the Briscoes and dresses, like Gerald Briscoe and Pat Patterson in dresses, and there was like some full-on shit during the Attitude Era too. But what a lot of people aren't realising is because of the Attitude Era, you have this era now as well, like where it's like very promo fueled and all that. For me personally, some of my favourite times of WWF was like the bit leading up to the Attitude Era, especially with the Hart Foundation, as like heels in the USA and faces in Canada. That gave out some awesome matches. Like they did a feud with Stone Cold. Stone Cold was like just on fire like during 1997 and like 98. Well, he kind of always was, but he was just really interesting, you know, and like just great. It just felt so fresh as it was happening in 97, 98. But like through like 1999, as documented elsewhere, parts of that just sucked. And like then there's some great stuff in 2000. I loved it when like Eddie and Benoit and Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn came in. Something felt fresh from that moment, and people like Jericho coming in. That was all good. But yeah, in other terms, it like had a lot of soap opera bullshit and crap angles, and like I think it was the start of like the titles being devalued as well. to be honest, because you had other titles going into it, like European Championship. I know that was slightly before the Attitude Era, but like as it got to the Attitude Era, it was like full on into it. Hardcore. That's the only two I can think of at the moment. But yeah, and then there's like title changes, sometimes monthly with the world title. You know, like that was like at the point where I like started to lose memory of like who had the title and when. Like, 'cause before the Attitude Era started, I could like pretty much give you every champ from like '63 to mid-90s. But yeah, I think the title started to get devalued then, to be honest. Yeah, but there's some good stuff. I like the fact that most of the wrestlers were over during the Attitude Era. I thought that was a good thing, and like a lot of people got a lot of time and stuff. But it was also like a bit overrated and a bit too much. Like there was less kind of storytelling in the ring. A lot of stuff, I think. I've been watching some of that Starcade DVD over the past few days, and like it just reminded me how much more psychology and storytelling is in like wrestling from the 80s and early 90s, before like all the TV era of Nitro and the Raw, like outdoing each other with like dick jokes and stuff like that. And yeah, that's an era I'm more nostalgic for, and that's kind of when I started watching around the early 90s, and the early 80s, the late 80s, early 80s, whole of the 80s, had some great stuff in wrestling. And yeah, I don't know if the Attitude was all it was cracked up to be, but some good stuff came out of it. So yes and no would be the answer to that question. I've rambled a hell of a lot into 2 parts, but yeah, if you liked any of this, send me some more questions and I'll deal with it. Might do another video at some point before No Way Out, but if I don't, the next video will probably be a No Way Out thoughts vid. Alright, take care.